Staying with our continuous coverage on the Pulwama attack, let me also go across to our political editor, Mr. Kartikeya Sharma, joining us live from the newsroom. Kartikeya, how do you analyze amidst all that has happened? Today is indeed a very, very deeply disturbing day for the entire nation. But how do you analyze Pakistan's reaction? It has been shockingly cold because not only have they conveniently distanced themselves from the entire act, they have also given a very lukewarm sort of response, and they've actually delved into, defining geographical boundaries of Jammu and Kashmir.
See, one should not expect anything from Pakistan. That's really banging at the wrong door, Akansha. You to expect Pakistan, that's their military philosophy, to bleed India with 1,000 cuts. Now the question is, India as a democratic country where Pakistan is religious, autocratic, failed, half state. How should India engage? Is war an answer? But I think before we go down to all these issues, for me, it is boiling down to a couple of strands. One, when geopolitical changes take place, you don't operate in vacuum. Is Pakistani army becoming more aggressive because they have gained upper hand in Afghanistan through Taliban? Because they forced Americans to have a talk with Al-Qaeda in Qatar, and Americans who wanted to eradicate T of terrorism from Afghanistan have coined words like good Al-Qaeda and bad Al-Qaeda, where half of the Al-Qaeda is part of the administration as reformed Al-Qaeda. So it tells us that even with the worst, even if your enemy is the devil, there has to be some sort of an engagement. Secondly, that has also impacted our security scenario in Kashmir. The sort of tactic which was utilized yesterday, now the reports are coming out, the person had honed his skills in Afghanistan. So the chap who actually assembled 350 kg of explosive was not an Indian, he was in Afghanistan. Though Fidayeen attacks have taken place, but this sort of a Fidayeen attack is new. That's one. Secondly, I think it is also very important for centre now to think, at least think, do they need a civilian governor there in Jammu and Kashmir? Or was Jammu and Kashmir better served with people like N.N. Vora or people from security establishment? A lot of prime ministers have made a lot of fine-tuning. Atal Bihari Vajpayee had a special envoy when it came to Kashmir. He was former RAW chief. These are the issues. But has a civilian governor really worked who keeps on giving interviews 24/7? So that is one part of it. Second part of it is there is no conversation which is taking place. Please understand, in democracy, election is one part of the process. It is not the end of the process. India, unfortunately that way, is a beautiful electoral democracy, but democracy from the context of economic, social and conversational parameters, it has its problem. And that problem gets more compounded when it goes to certain areas like northeastern Kashmir. So I think what sort of parameters and what sort of engagements are required, I think any government will have to rethink. The Modi government or the new government, if he comes back to power, if any other government comes back to power, there will have to be some sort of a chatter in the valley. And lastly, the most important strand which really comes to my mind is that, yes, we can always pulverize Omar Abdullah and Mehbooba for showing that you have not said enough, you have not done enough, and you have not spoken against terrorism enough. But as an Indian, we have also need to factor in the long-term resolution of societies which witness conflict and war. Because history has demonstrated the more the conflict and war perpetuates, the more it eats into civil institutions. And once your civil institutions die, when they perish away, then civil society hardens up. And is that the road we are walking to? Because history has shown that once that has happened, it nearly becomes impossible to manage large demographies. So these are hard questions. It's not as if he's the first prime minister who's dealing with it. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Manmohan Singh, many other prime ministers have actually engaged with these real, solid and problematic issues. But what is really important here is vulnerability of our soldiers. For CRPF to be attacked like this reminds me of Dantewada, Akansha, where they were brutally killed by an IED attack. Now, a similar thing has happened, and again that is on CRPF. So this will also boil down to certain operational issues. You would remember that when Uri attack took place, India felt very, very betrayed. But today, the same army is taking action against the person who was supposed to defend Uri. He's an army chap. There was an SOP failure. So I think SOP failures are something which we should really be very, very focused upon, because small errors make for big casualties. And Uri and this has been an example. Because Pakistan is not going to, you see, the reason why I'm not talking about Pakistan is because Pakistan promotes terrorism. I think I must have said 1 lakh times over a period of my life, because it's a failed state. Pakistan hates India. Pakistani army hates India. There is a systematic bias in Pakistan. You know, it's very rosy when we talk on TV that, you know, there will be a dialogue and interaction, but the bias has been inbuilt over past 40 years by the army, and they have made it so that it has seeped into institutions of the civil society.
Right.
So I think, you know, to say can we reform Pakistan, it's impossible. What you need to do is to communicate in hard measures that what you want to do is unacceptable, and if you do, the cost to you would be unbearable. I think that has not been communicated, because somehow along the line, Akansha, the surgical strikes in India have become political fodder. It doesn't work like that.
And that is why Prime Minister Narendra Modi also reached out to the opposition, requesting them to not politicize this entire issue. At the same time, Kartikeya, I cannot help but, you know, outline how Pakistan has reacted. It has indeed been a shocking reaction coming in from this country. So let me also tell our viewers that despite the world standing hand in hand to condemn this attack, unrepentant Pakistan issued the most hollow piece of statement. Pakistan said, and I quote, "Attack in Pulwama is a matter of grave concern. We have always condemned acts of violence anywhere in the world." Mind you, there's been no use of the word terror. We strongly reject any insinuation by elements in the Indian media and government that seek to link the attack to Pakistan without investigation. So what is actually shocking me at this moment, Kartikeya, is the fact that the entire word of terror or terrorism has been completely omitted from this press release that has been actually released by Pakistan.